Hi everybody, Brandon Parks flying here. We're in Cleveland today and we're staying at the Western Hotel, which is downtown. It's pretty empty here. I think over half the restaurants are closed. And we went to eat at the Winking Lizard Tavern. Really good food, good atmosphere, and of course it's Saturday and it's college football season, so we got to watch a little bit of football. But this video there's really no flying in it. It's all about the cockpit setup. One of our passengers was with us and we had to stop and get fuel. So I went through the cockpit setup with him, and his name's Brandon. Hello, Brandon, if you're watching, thanks for watching, and thanks for flying with us. I hope you enjoy the video. I want to thank Matt Simpson for being patient while we made the video also. All right, Brandon, so when we come out to the airplane, or when we're leaving, either way, there's four knobs essentially that are, the concept is a quiet and dark cockpit. So no lights should be on and all knobs should be in the 12 o'clock when we're flying.
Okay.
So since we're coming out here, starting up, there's four knobs that I teach everybody to look for. 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything else is in the 12 o'clock position.
Okay.
So now you know where all the knobs are.
Okay.
It's that easy.
Okay.
All right, so I check those when I leave, and I make sure other switches off. I always leave the nav light on, but depends on what company, or probably the flight school, they probably always leave it on.
Okay.
The reason people leave nav lights on, if they leave the batteries on, they walk away from the airplane, they should see the nav lights.
Okay.
But when you turn the batteries off, the nav light goes off.
So these are exterior lights?
Yeah, exterior lights,
okay,
yeah.
Gotcha.
So we're going to turn on the batteries, so this one and this one, if you want to turn those on.
This one?
Yep,
To
I'll
auto?
turn this one first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, that's our battery, so we're just going to wait for it to power up. So what we're looking for right now is our CAS message to come up, but only this screen's going to come up. This is what we would see in an electrical emergency. We would just have the center screen here. So basically it means we're down to the batteries. And in this airplane, since it's fly-by-wire, that's not a good thing.
Okay.
But we have all kinds of backup systems, so it's not really a big deal. So why that's getting set up, we're basically looking to make sure there's no fire lights, and then we're going to do a fire test. Before that, though, we can check all the lights, and that's this button. This is annunciator.
Okay.
Cancel that. So there's no fire lights. So hit this one. You can just hold it down. Yeah. So now we can check all the lights. See all the lights? And there's lights over here. There's two lights over.
Keep holding it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's two lights over on your side. We got 4 lights up here, and then I have 2 lights over here.
Okay.
He's kind of blocked right now.
Oh, okay.
All right, you can let go of it.
Okay.
So now we're going to do the fire test, and that's this one. This is just the push and release. So you can push it and release it.
This one?
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. So we're going to get 5 fire lights plus 3. So 5 red ones. And then here's our 3 caution, our yellow ones.
Okay.
So we're just making sure that all the fire protections tested before we start the APU.
Okay.
So before we actually give it a fire, we're going to test on the fire.
Okay.
So when we start the APU, it's 2 procedures. One is we're going to turn this on, so just push and release.
Okay.
And then it's going to flash, and then it'll go steady. What it's doing is a computer test or a bit test. So that means the APU is ready to start. So this one's just, again, push and release.
Okay.
And then we're going to APU starting. You can see the batteries, you can see the APU starting here. And we always try to come in here right away to start the APU because that gets the air conditioner running.
Oh, fair enough. Okay.
Yeah.
What does APU stand for?
Auxiliary power unit.
Okay.
So it's a turbine engine. It's just a small jet engine.
Okay.
It's in the very back, and that'll run all of our bleeds on the ground, and then all of our electrical power.
In addition to the two actual engines?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we actually turn off the APU after takeoff, and then we started it back again when we're landing. And when we shut down the engines, we still have power for the air conditioner and also our electrical and bleeds. So we have air conditioning still.
Okay, yeah. So like that little thing on the back, that's their APU?
Yeah, that's their APU.
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
Which is a third engine, essentially. So we're waiting for basically still the APU to spin up. It's already spinned up, but we don't have bleeds yet. As soon as we have bleeds, you'll feel the air conditioner change.
Okay. So
that's kind of our cue to start touching stuff.
Okay.
So you'll hear it visually also, but. So on this one we have synthetic vision. So sometimes it goes off when we restart. To turn it back on, we just hit CVS, but it's not all quite there yet. But once it's powered all up, I can hit CVS and I'll show you that. So here's the first stage, and then it'll start blowing cold air here in a second.
Okay, so when it starts blowing cold air, you're able to go to the next step. You hear it kick on. Okay. Okay, gotcha.
So now we've got it cold air.
And that just clears the caution, like caution this, okay, click it and it cancels it out?
Yeah, so you have a caution and a warning. So the warnings are all red and the cautions are amber or yellow.
Okay.
Now if you look at these also match up here. So if we had a red cast message, it would be up here, and then a yellow or amber, and then we got cyan, which are advisory, and then white are status. So that's basically our warning system. And what's nice about these two is this: if you see the box next to it, that means it has a checklist associated with it. So rather than going down here to the paper checklist, I can just click on this checklist and it brings up the checklist automatically. So I would just run through this. I'm going to run through it just because it's, once we start engines, it'll go away. So anyways, you just click it, and once it's done, it shows a check mark. It means you've done the checklist for it.
Okay.
So it's kind of nice. Normally you shouldn't have any cast messages. Sometimes you'll have status messages up there, but you shouldn't really have any reds or yellows when you're flying. Now, we have a general setting that we use here. It's called Memory 9. And that's the general profile that we fly with. So if you come over here and hit memory, and then the number 9, you'll see our profiles change.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
This makes it a little bit easier. All right, so once I do that, I kind of do a flow. There's 3 things that I teach people to look for. There's one that come over here. This one's on COM 1, and this is one on COM 2. So I come over here, and you'll see me use the mouse. There's 4 screens, right? So there's 4 buttons. Left hand DU, display unit, right, or center DU, right hand DU, and then lower DU. So if I want to use this one, I hit the left DU, and then I click on the mouse at certain places. And I'm going to actually go to COM nav, and I'm going to switch to COM 2.
Okay.
The reason I do that, we use COM 2 as our primary, but we have this COM button right here. So you'll see us as we switch frequencies, we'll type in the frequency, like 21.9, and then we'll hit COM 2, and it'll go up to COM 2 as long as this is on COM 2.
Okay.
So in the COM 2 is right here, COM 1 and 2. There's all kinds of places to look for COM 2. So. And then down here too, actually if I do 21.9 and hit COM, you'll see it come up here, but it also shows here, COM 2, 21.9.
Okay.
So this is called a scratch pad, so when we can type things in here, and it's not doing anything until I hit execute or enter. And then we have a delete button here. You hold down, it deletes everything. So first thing I do is COM 2. I come over here, we're going to take off in manual speeds, so I have it switched to manual. I usually do it after landing, but see, this is FMS speeds and this is manual speeds. So we're going to take off in manual speeds. This is auto brake system.
Okay.
I explain that.
So that sorry, this so the left seat is the pilot in charge, PIC, or
not always.
Okay.
Like the PIC is basically who signs for paperwork, who does the paperwork essentially.
Okay.
So like Matt, he's actually the PIC for the trips that we've been doing.
Okay.
So sometimes I'll set left seat and sometimes we set right seat.
Generally speaking, whoever flies sets left seat. It's just our company policy.
Okay. Gotcha.
It makes it easier for teaching call-out and flows.
Okay.
So, to be honest, I usually fly right seat because I'm usually training somebody. So,
Okay.
I have everybody else normally does the paperwork, and I sit over there and just do what I'm told. So,
Fair enough.
works good. All right, so we did COM 2, we did manual. We're gonna come down here. We have an auto brake system. This is an option on the Legacy 500. We have a rejected takeoff, off, low, and high. So if we come over here, we're gonna go to rejected takeoff.
Okay.
And what that does is if we ended up aborting, it would apply brakes automatically. So these brakes, they're electronic also. So when you, compared to like a Cessna or Cirrus, when you hit on the brakes, you're actually hitting hydraulic pressure. This is basically just a spring in there. So you're not getting really any you're getting feedback that's fake, you know? So,
Okay.
so we have electric braking system. Anyways, if you reject, we set it on reject to take off, it'll automatically apply brakes.
Okay.
Now, if you ever see me land with something else in here, it's automatically applying brakes at a low, medium, and high setting. So what will happen with that is if I want to turn those off, I can reach up there and turn off the switch. But if you to override the brakes on reject to take off or any of those settings, you got to apply more pressure than what the computer system is applying.
Okay.
And then it'll come off. So anyways, those three things are the first three things we do in our flow. And then I'm going to come over here, I'm going to go to FMS. It's our flight management system. So here's our menu, and then we have a drop-down menu next to it. So this, we're just checking our charts, make sure they're up to date. And what I'm going to do, this is basically back and this is forward. So I'm going to go flight plan setup. That's our next one. So this is our flight plan that we're putting in. If we had CPDLC, we could actually, it would automatically, they would send it to us and we just throw it in, but we have to manually put it in today. So we're going to start at Raleigh. So I'm going to click on RDU and bring it over here and drop it in. Let me see if he sent me the PDC yet. He didn't, but we'll just pick it up. He didn't send me a flight. This is our flight plan. So he filed and just emailed me the paperwork so that I have it all. Sometimes we get a PDC, which is a pre-departure clearance. So they'll text us the flight plan,
Okay.
and then instead of calling them on the radio and saying, "Hey, now we're going to Raleigh, can you give us the clearance?" They would just text it to us. So or email it, depending on what you want to do. So it makes it real nice. So we're going RDU to Naples. So we'll put in Naples here. So type in KAPF. Okay. Now you're going to hit lower DU, and then scroll over to the top here.
Okay.
You can kind of just keep scrolling. They'll eventually go.
Okay.
All right. So now you can just click on the mouse. One of the two sides.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. I was like trying to push the ball.
So then it came in there. So anytime we make changes to the flight plan, we'll get the execute button. Now normally your leg will block that green button. So I always tell people, hey, if you're sitting over there, make sure you still check the execute button.
Okay.
So yeah, you can go get it. Okay. So we're gonna cruise. Let's see. Flight level 410. So that's our next one. So we'll hit FL 410. And we'll just bring it over here and drop it in. Perfect.
Execute or no?
You can. We're going to do a bunch of stuff. So,
Okay.
So our alternate is probably going to be RSW. So we're going to type in KRSW.
Okay.
And then drop it in again. And that's
Okay.
so if we had to go over to from Naples to RSW, Fort Myers, we're only going to go at 3,000 feet. So let's type that in.
Okay.
3,000. Same thing, just drop it in there. And we're going to depart.
And either button does the same thing.
It does.
Okay,
Yeah.
gotcha. It's not like a right click, left click.
Yeah. estimate departure time. Let's put 2010 in there.
So 0210, like
010. Yeah.
2010.
Yeah. And then you can drop it in here. Not required, but I like to put in as much stuff as I can. At this point, I'll go ahead and execute before I do my flight plan. So hit execute, green button. I'm going to bring up my ticket here. Turn on the speaker so you can hear too. Let's see if I can get ATIS and clearance. So the reason I set this up first is because then it'll automatically bring in my chart. So if I go to orientation, and then it brings up my chart for Raleigh Durham here. See if there's okay, that scratch pad. So the first thing we'll do is get ATIS. Now there's kind of two ways to get ATIS. Here's a digital ATIS. So we can use ForeFlight and we can get the digital ATIS off of here. Or we can turn to 23.8 and listen to it and get ATIS that way. But obviously it's easier text. So I'm just going to use this one here. So it's information line. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is do our clearance. So here's Raleigh Durham clearance. It's going to be 120.1 to 1201. You don't have to put the 1, it's always in there.
Okay.
So I'm just going to drop it into, I'm going to hit COM 2 here, and it'll bring it up here. So that'll be our clearance. Let me call and get it real quick. The one thing I do whenever I have clearance, I try to pull up my flight plan. It helps with some of those unusual names. So I want to have my flight plan up. If I can find it here. So basically, you can see some of the names here on the routes. Like, they're weird, right?
Yeah.
ROS 5, Rosbo, Wilmington, ILM, and then there's some airways. Looks like we're going over the ocean there. So I always have it up to make it easier to get clearance.
Clearance Legacy, number 1 Yankee, IFR to Alpha Papa. Foxtrot with Legacy number 1 Yankee. Roswell 5, Roswell, Wilmington. That's filed 6,410, 10 minutes, 125.3, and 7026 for Legacy number 1.
I may have missed it, but 125.3 November 1 Yankee, remember.
Thanks, Ed. We got that.
Alright, so we got clearance. So now we're just going to set up the clearance from here. So when you're using the FMS here, and you don't know where something is, you go to the I don't know button. This is the I don't know button.
Really?
The index.
Okay, index. Okay, all right.
But I teach it as the I don't know button.
Okay.
So I'll hit index, and we're going to do departure here. And we're going to do the Roswell 5. So there's Roswell 5. We'll click on that. And then we're departing runway 23 left. So we're going to select the runway. There's runway 23 left. And then we can execute. So that gives me Roswell 5, Roswell. Another thing that does is, since I have my airport chart here, but if I scroll over, now it gives me the Roswell 5. So it's nice when you have the FMS set up, then you can use the charts a little bit easier.
Okay.
So we did Roswell 5, Roswell, and then we're Wilmington. So type in ILM.
Okay.
and then drop it in right here. So lower DU. I keep stilling it for a minute. So.
Right there?
Yep. And then the next fix is going to be, the next airway is AR15. So type in AR15. And then, oh, I'm sorry, real quick. So there's two VORs with Wilmington. One's probably in South America somewhere. No, I'm not going to try to pronounce it. So we want to select the one in the U.S. here. Yeah. Okay. And it's still got AR-15 in our scratch pad, so you can just click on it. Oh, I'm sorry. We're gonna click over here.
Sorry. Okay.
No, that's sorry. Click over here because this is our airways. So this is fix via, so our airways, and then we're gonna exit that airway at HIBAC, HIBAC. You can't hit, other than just hitting this, you can hit enter too. Sometimes it's faster if it's right on blue.
Okay.
But you know, there's three ways to do everything in here.
Okay, fair enough.
And then our arrival is going to be with Shifty 5. So remember where I said if you don't know where something is?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll go down there to the I don't know button.
Okay.
And then we're going to click on arrivals. And then we're going to click Shifty 5. And I don't know which fix or which runway we're going to use yet, but it was off of HIBAC. And then go and hit execute.
EXC or VXCC?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so there's multiple ways. You can hit this button or that button. So now we should have all of our route in there. Now what we do is we both verify it. So since, well, we kind of did it together, but whoever, we switch roles essentially to verify it. So you would read it and then we'd verify it on the opposite way. So I got Rosbo 5, Rosbo, Wilmington, AR-15, HIBAC for the Shifty 5 arrival. Now I come down here at 697 miles. Ours says it's 699, so we're pretty close. About hour 30 months, hour and 35. So the fuel that we have now, it's we're gonna land right estimated with 3,300 pounds left. So we went to our alternate and we had 3,000 pounds left.
Yeah, where's the fuel?
This is total fuel right
Okay, so 7,000. Okay, gotcha. Oh, they're filling up currently, so
yeah,
that number keeps changing.
Yep, so that's gonna, I think we're getting 8,000 pounds, so it's gonna continue to change. Alright, so flight plan's set up, so let's go to VDAV thrust. And we're actually not gonna do anything here, but I just like going through each step. Sure. And then we're gonna go to weight and balance. So on the weight and balance, we only have one passenger, so we're gonna put one up here in the forward cabin.
Okay, and then I click one and then click on it?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Do I still click it?
Well, you can hit enter on this one. You can click it either way. So we have default weights of 195, that's our company. Default weights. We don't have any baggage in the back. So when I tell people, it just looks like California, right? So sometimes we'll say California looks good. Okay. So as long as it's in California here, we're good to go. Now we can go all the way up to the stop for takeoff, so it's maximum takeoff weight, but this line is maximum landing weight. So at this point we know if we had an emergency, we can come back without burning off any fuel and still land.
Okay.
So California is good in this case.
Okay.
So once that's done, I'm going to go ahead and hit execute, and then this confirm button will show up. So hit execute.
Oh, sure.
And then confirm. We're not going to do that yet for the fact that we're still waiting on fuel. So,
sure.
So as soon as that's done, then we'll hit execute and go from there. So you can see now our synthetic vision came up. So you can see the green and the blue. It'll show some obstacles. It'll show mountains and terrain through the synthetic vision. You're not allowed to use it for navigation purposes, but it's a good reference.
Okay.
And the Phenom, all the trees and the towers, they're palm trees.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is it 300 or 300E?
Well, they're about the same, maybe.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
it's kind of funny.
Just go with palm trees. That's awesome.
Another thing we can do while we're sitting here is we can review the Roswell or Rosbo 5 departure. So I'm going to come back to the route here. So we know it's in. So we're going to depart runway 23 left. Let's see what else we got over here. Climb. It says climb on headings for radar vectors to Igor. It's there. At or above 2,500. So if you see the text, some are small and some are big. The big ones are mandatory. So
Okay.
if I actually type something in and put it in, that would assume it's mandatory, so it would be big. But this one, it says at or 25,000 at or above. I'm sorry,
so
this
these
is
are in
above.
thousands, or
Yep.
these are or tens, because multiples of 10. So 10 times 2,500, 25,000.
No,
Or-
this is 2,500.
Oh, okay.
So this is the speed, 315, 2,500. Now we're not going to do 315 because we're breaking it far, so we'll be at 250 knots. And our system knows that. But like I said, it's small, so it's not a mandatory anyhow. So this is going to be above 2,500. You can see here it says above 2,500. That's what that little A means. That you're above.
Okay.
And then on track 182, I don't really care the directions, but they are in there. Because obviously if I'm going from here to here, it's gotta be right.
Okay.
So, Igor, Rosbo, then a sign. So our sign was, Wilmington was next. And it says turbodrops maintain 6,000, propellers maintain, altitude assigned by ATC, expect clearance to be filed, altitude within 10 minutes after departure. So since we're a jet, we're a turbofan, so we can't even take that, right? I think
Okay.
about that.
Okay.
Jets are where turbofans are all in the same category.
Okay.
So it's 6,000. So we're going to set 6,000 our altitude here, and our altitude selector's here. So take the big knob and just roll it up until it says 6,000. Oh, wait till I. 30,000. That's 30,000 feet.
Oh, okay, my bad.
There's 6,000 feet. All right, so we got 6,000.
You don't want to go up to space?
Yeah, I don't mind. The other thing I always look at when I scan through this chart, I read the notes, radar required, that's not an issue. If anyone with climb rate of ATC, we could do the climb rate. We'll be doing 250 knots, and it says we need to do at least, for all of these, at least 1,290 feet, 2 feet per minute. We can easily do 4,000 feet per minute, so that's not a factor for us. Other thing I look for is airspeed. Sometimes they'll have airspeed assigned here, and we want to make sure we don't we maintain whatever airspeed they want. Like coming out of Midway, it's always 250 knots, and 20 minutes in your flight, they finally tell you to accelerate. So
What's the minimum takeoff speed in this?
So you'll see them here in a minute, and I'll get to that in a second.
Sure.
So, all right, so our fuel's all done. We got 8,000 pounds. Our fuel was equalized there. So let's go back to FMS, and we can continue here. VNAV, remember I said there's nothing we have to worry about at this point. We did weight and balance, so now we're going to go ahead and confirm it. And that saves it for the computer for our takeoff information. So here's our takeoff information. We can get the ATIS up here, but we have digital ATIS, so I'm going to grab that instead. Temperature is going to be 31 degrees, so if you'll type and put 31 degrees up here. And we're going to hit the lower D. Yep. And then winds are going to be 240. And we have to put a slash in for this. 08 knots. And then just hit enter or whatever. Altimeter is going to be, you don't have to actually type it in. It's 3,000. So I'm going to come up here. This is how I set my altimeter. And 3,000. You're going to come over here and set yours to 3,000. See where the yellow is. You were going the right way.
Oh,
Go to the right.
3,000. Oh, gotcha.
With that 30 right here. 30.
Oh, I was looking at.
Yeah.
I was looking at this. My bad.
There we go. So you saw it turn blue. That means they're matching.
Okay.
And then I have a third backup. I'm going to set here. It's 3000. So as you notice, when we set 3000 on my side, it actually changed here. So we don't have to manually set it in. So the next thing we're going to do is click on send. And these are all going to turn to pink, or whatever pink is.
Okay.
I call it pink. So you were asked a question about speeds for takeoff.
Sure.
So we calculated based on our performance, the temperature, and our weight, essentially.
Okay.
And it gives us these speeds. They all come up here, so you can see them up right in front of us.
Okay.
So V1, that's our rotation speed. I'm sorry, VR is our rotation speed, 115. And we got V1, V2, that's going to be our single engine speed. So if we have an engine failure, we want to fly V2. In this book, it's V2 plus 15 or V2. And then VFS, that's final segment. So once we bring our flaps up, that's the airspeed we would fly, single engine. If we did these speeds now, we'd be like this.
Okay.
So they're basically for a single engine. So one thing we're going to do here is this is our takeoff go around button. There's one on each side here. So if you hit that, you're going to see an airspeed come up here. So remember I said V2 is what we fly, but they actually, this book allows V2 plus 15. So that's what it actually calculated, 138 up here in the blue.
Okay.
Cyan.
What do you mean, like book? You said this
The manual.
manual. Okay.
Yeah, so we have an aircraft flight manual, and if you ran performance numbers in there, that's what it would give to you in our procedures, SOPs, standard operation procedures. It says we're allowed to do V2 to V2 plus 15 for an engine.
Okay.
failure.
So 138. 15 plus 123.
Yep. Yep. All right, so we sent all the numbers. We're good to go there. It gives us our trim setting. It's 58. Our trim is right here, 60. So what I'm going to do is come down here. Since it's fly-by-wire, it actually trims all itself. But when we're on the ground here, we have to set a trim.
Okay.
After that, it does it all itself. We can't even, if we came over and hit it, it wouldn't even do anything.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is test each side here. So I'm going to hold it until it says trim, trim, trim.
Trim, trim, trim.
And then I'm going to go the other way.
Trim, trim, trim.
So basically what it's doing there is it, after 3 seconds of holding it, it stops it. Because it thinks, man, there's something wrong. We have a runaway trim situation.
Okay.
Or the guy's an idiot, one of the two. So I can actually go past that, but I just can't hold it more than 3 seconds.
Okay.
So I just can't push it a little bit at a time until I get what I want. So we had 58. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this back up to 58. The Phenom has the same feature for the trim. So if you hold the trim for 3 seconds, it stops and it'll say trim, trim, trim. If you hold it for 10 seconds, it locks out.
Okay.
So I'm like, ah.
No.
But it actually only locks out one side or the other. So like when I'm training people in the Phenom, I say, and they lock yourself out, I'm like, yeah, good luck with that. But I still have the trim, I can use mine.
Okay.
So I help them out, but it does make it difficult for them. All right, so the next one is landing. We're not actually going to go to that because I'll set it up in the air. We've got some time to do that kind of stuff.
Okay.
So that's the basic flow. Now we're going to go to our checklist. So if you hit over here and hit checklist, these ones, I'm going to turn on the emergency light. We're all set to go whenever we're ready. Okay. So our emergency light should go out here in a second. And then I'm going to come over here to index. I'm going to go to normal, and then we're going to click on before start. So now we're just going to run through our checklist here. So the first thing is we're going to go to revision 4. This is the manual. It's revision 4. I know it's revision 4, but if you open it up, it says revision 4 in it. So you got to make sure that this manual is on board and it's the correct manual. The next thing is our steering. So there's a steering button here and it's off, but what we want to confirm is it's a steering disconnect. So that's all we're doing, is making sure our steering's off. Emergency light selector. So this is our emergency light, and it's on arm, and you shouldn't see a cast message. It'll say emergency light on. So we're good to go on that one. You can see as I check them, they'll turn green. Fasten seatbelt. This is our seatbelt sign. It's on. Crew oxygen max and regulator. So each side there's crew oxygen max, and there's 2 buttons.
Okay.
So we would push on the top one and the bottom one, and then we're just checking to make sure there's airflow essentially.
Okay.
I checked that one earlier, so
Okay.
don't worry about it. Plus that's his side. He'll be okay.
Okay.
Flight instruments, so we're going to set and check those. So what I like to do over here is come over here and I'll go V1s, 110, VRs, 115, V2, 123, 145, and then we got 138. It's coupled to our left side, so the left side pilot is in control of the avionics.
Oh, okay. The left arrow. Gotcha.
And then we're up to 6,000 feet, and we're at 460, or good 3000 is all good. And I forgot to tell you about V1. V1 is your go or no go decision. So at V1, it's safer to go. So once you're at V1, you'll see my hands come off the thrust lever. That's because I'm committed at that point.
Okay.
I'm going to rotate at VR, even if I have an engine failure.
Okay.
So I'll rotate at VR, and then I'll climb out of V2 to V2 plus 15. All right, speeds, checklist. We got flight instruments, fuel quantity we've checked, oxygen 20. We have 115. Our bottle's 115 cubic square feet, I think. There's 2 bottles. We have a bigger bottle. And then if it's in white and it's green, I don't have to check the chart to see if we need more oxygen. So we have plenty of oxygen in case of an emergency situation. So that's checked. FMS, that's what we just set up. Trim panel, we set that to 58 there. This is just information for what the trim would be, but we don't have to refer to it because it gave it to us already. And now we're at the shortly before startup, so we're ready to go.
Okay. Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
That was fun.
All right. And once we get airborne, you can come up and check it out.
Okay.
Matt, I think we're ready, sir.
All right. Alrighty. Thank you.
Yeah, you
so
bet.
much, Brandon. There's sandwiches and stuff up here if you guys want them.
All right. Be back en route.